Hello everyone, welcome back to Kiran's English Hub. So we're continuing with the summaries of 7th class English, and so far we have completed Unit 1, and today we shall go through Unit 2 Reading A, that is C.V. Raman, the Pride of India. And still those who did not subscribe to my channel, you can just subscribe it before we go through the lesson, so that you will get all the notifications whenever I upload new video on the next lessons. Yeah. So C.V. Raman, the Pride of India. So before getting into the text, reading the text, we have some pictures here. So look at the pictures and answer the questions that follow. So you have got some pictures of the great people, especially they all belong to India. Okay, so that is the important thing. Okay, so many people in the many other countries have done far better than these people which are seen directly on the screen now, but all these scientists and important people are belonging to India. Okay, so it is just like a small quiz for you all. So please do find out the names of the 6 pictures, the 6 people displayed on your screen, and know a little bit about them, because we might even get some type of general knowledge questions or current affairs questions in your examinations based on them. Okay, so we have some questions here. So who are these people? So there is a common answer, that is they're all scientists. Okay, so tell your class what you know about them. So here you need not to tell the whole class here. You don't have any class right now, so you're alone. You might be alone watching the video. So you just go through Google or go through the books or go through any other contents or sources that you have and know a little bit about them. Okay, at least in which field they have worked hard, and which awards they have got, what is their specification in their studies and all. Okay, next, do you want to be a scientist? If you want to be a scientist, why? If not, why? Okay, you can answer the both questions there. Next, you have oral discourse, talk on impact of scientific innovations on human life. Okay, so what is the impact of scientific innovations, scientific inventions? Okay, scientific inventions in the sense just like mobile, fan, TV, okay, a freezer, bikes, mechanism, all these things. Okay, what is the impact of all these scientific inventions on human life? Okay, you can just talk about the difference between the human life which was far back. Okay, the people who lived without mobile, without any electricity and all, and you can also talk about the people who are using electricity, mobiles, technology, communication and everything. So there is a lot of difference and there is a lot of impact also. So please talk about that in your classes. Yeah, so let us get into our today's text, that is C.V. Raman, the Pride of India. Okay, let us see why C.V. Raman is pride of India. Okay, yeah, so reading A here. So on the busy Boya street in Calcutta, there was an old building. So it was the headquarters of the Indian Association for Cultivation of Science. Okay, so the situation, the scene is in Calcutta. Okay, so there is a street also. The street name is Baobazar Street. Okay, this question you will get in the examination, children. Okay, so in Calcutta there is a headquarters. Okay, so the headquarters was Indian Association for Cultivation of Science. Okay, so for this particular association, the headquarters is in Calcutta. This is general knowledge question for the students, for the aspirants who are preparing for TET DSC. Okay, so in December, on a fine evening in 1927, there was much excitement in one of its laboratories. Okay, so one of its laboratories in the sense, one of the rooms or one of the floor or one of the rooms in that building. Okay, so there was some excitement. Okay, let us see what was that excitement. Chandrasekhar Venkatraman was showing a visitor. Okay, C.V. Raman. You might get a question in your examination asking what is the full name or what is the full form of C.V. Raman. What is the full name? Chandrasekhar Venkatraman was showing a visitor some of his instruments when a young man, K.S. Krishnan, rushed in and announced, Professor Compton has won the Nobel Prize. Okay, this was the excitement in one of the rooms of the building. Okay, so when C.V. Raman, this man, okay, was showing some of his equipments and his instruments and all to a visitor who came there. So there was an incident. What was incident? Suddenly there was a man, K.S. Krishnan. He rushed in the sense, came inside the room very fast, and he announced, okay, he announced in the sense, he said, Professor Compton has won the Nobel Prize. Okay, so what did K.S. Krishnan say? Professor Compton has won the Nobel Prize. K.S. Krishnan said this to whom? To C.V. Raman. Okay. So Raman was equally delighted. Okay. So C.V. Raman was also very, very happy. Excellent news, he said, smiling at the visitor, and then he was lost in thought. Okay. So as soon as he heard that, C.V. Raman also said, wow, that is excellent news. Okay. That is a very good news. And smiling at the visitor, he was then lost in thought in the sense he continued to do his work. What was he doing before? He was showing some of his instruments to a visitor. So he continued to do that work. But look here, Krishnan, he said, turning to the young man. Okay, so again he turned back and started telling to the man who came there, Krishnan, if this Compton effect is true of X-rays, it must be true of light too. Okay, so now he has some point in his mind after listening to the statement of K.S. Krishnan. C.V. Raman has some point in his mind. He turned back to K.S. Krishnan and said, see, Krishnan, if Compton effect has won the Nobel Prize based on based on X-rays, then it must be true of light too. So what do you understand here? Compton effect was the effect of X-rays. Okay, Professor Compton has has done some experiments on X-rays and finally has got Nobel Prize. And here C.V. Raman is doing some experiments on light. That's why he's comparing X-ray and the light here. Okay. So few years earlier, A.H. Compton, what is the full name of Compton? Professor Compton, his full name is A.H. Compton, had shown that the nature of X-rays changes when it passes through a matter. Okay, so for example, there is a X-ray, right? So everybody knows X-ray. So what did A.H. Compton has done? He has done experiment on X-rays. He has shown that when X-ray, okay, when the ray of that X-ray passes or falls on some object, okay, here matter in the sense object, it changes its way. Okay, so we almost most of the people undergo X-ray whenever they come across some fractures and all. Okay, so what happens there, we can come across the this one bones, the structure, fractures and all. So that bone is the matter, bone is the object in between. So when X-ray passes through that bone, it changes its matter. Okay, the X-ray stops there. Okay, so the change was dependent on the kind of matter. Okay, another thing is the change of X-ray was also dependent on the kind of matter. For example, if there is a soft matter, for example skin is there, if X-ray passes through skin doesn't stop any X-ray. But if X-ray passes through bone stops the X-ray. Okay, so there is difference between the matter that we use when we are using X-rays. Okay, so this effect was called the Compton effect. Okay, so all these experiments which are done by Professor Compton related to X-ray, its matters, okay, everything is completely called as Compton effect, and he has also won Nobel Prize because of that experiments. So could light also change its nature when passes through a transparent medium? Of course. Yes or no? Okay, so we have light. For example, if you just hold a torch in your right hand and you put your left hand across the light which is passing, of course, hand stops the light. But take a transparent paper and put the light through it. Does the light stop there? No, it passes through the transparent paper. Okay, so that is what C.V. Raman is trying to think. Okay, so that was the question that Raman asked himself. Okay, so C.V. Raman was thinking all this thing in his mind. So for 5 years he had been doing research in optics. Okay, so what is optics? The science of light, okay, or the study of light also you can call it. Okay, mostly go with this. Okay, aspirant DSR aspirants might be getting this question in your examination. Optics, okay, this match the followings is there, no? So in that place we might be getting, on the left side you might be given like optics and all those things, and right side you will get the study of light, the study of music, the study of strings and all these things options you will get. So you might have to match that. Okay, be careful. So no sophisticated in the sense like modern or developed, okay, equipment was available in his laboratory, but Raman was confident that he could find the answer with some modifications in his equipment. Okay, though C.V. Raman has been working on the science of light for 5 years, he doesn't have any type of modern or modernized equipment. Okay, like the people who are having now, he doesn't have that type of equipment in those days. Okay, so though he doesn't have that type of equipment, modern equipment, he started doing his research, he continued to do research, and he started to make some type of modifications in the sense changes, new changes in his equipment. Okay, he did not stop. Okay, so you also, for example, if you find that what you're doing is irrelevant to your studies, you just try to change the mode of your education, try to change the mode of your sources, and you continue to study. Okay, so for 4 months later, on March 16, 1928, Raman announced his discovery of new radiation, describing the behavior of a beam of light passing through a liquid chemical to an assembly of scientists at Bangalore, now called Bengaluru. So after the 4 months, on March 16th, 1928, finally Raman announced this discovery. Okay, so his discovery is a new radiation. So the discovery describes about the behavior of a beam of light passing through a liquid chemical. So what happens when a light passes through chemicals, different chemicals and all? So that was the thing he explained to assembly in the sense group of scientists, assembly of scientists in the sense group of scientists. For example, if there are two or more than two scientists in one place, we should not tell there are 10 scientists, there are 9 scientists. You should tell there is an assembly of scientists. Okay, the group of scientists or so many members of scientists is called as assembly of scientists. Okay, be careful. Yeah, so the world hailed the discovery as the Raman effect. Okay, so the whole world called it as the Raman effect. Just like previously Ah Compton, he has done some experiment that was called as the Compton effect. Here it is called as the Raman effect. Okay, so for scientific research in this country, it was a red letter day. Again we come across this word. I think in the previous lesson also we had come across this a red letter day. So red letter day in the sense a very important day. So his discovery caught the attention of the world in the sense all the scientists in the world, all the people who are doing researches in this way started to look at CV Raman. So with equipment worth hardly 200 and limited facilities, Raman was able to make a discovery which won him the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930. See, finally, when did he win the Nobel Prize? When did he win? In the year 1930. And in which field did he win the Nobel Prize? In the field of physics. And with how much cost of equipment has he done his experiments? With equipment worth hardly 200 rupees and limited facilities. Just imagine his ideologies, imagine his talent. In nowadays, if you want to purchase a quality bulb, it is more than 1000 rupees. Yes or no? But in those days, in the year 1930s and all, the equipment which he used for the scientific research was hardly 200 rupees, and with that he had done all his experiments and finally he won the Nobel Prize, which is very, very, proud moment for all the Indians. So Raman was born on November 7, 1888 at Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. So he belongs to Tamil Nadu state, and he was born on November 7, 1888. So his father was a physics teacher in a college. Okay. So he was a brilliant student right from the start. Right from the start, in the sense, since childhood, he was a brilliant student, C.V. Raman. Next, when Raman passed his matriculation, his parents were keen to send him abroad for higher studies. Matriculation, in the sense, just like intermediate, like that. Okay, so in those days, uh, see, some people who are well enough to send their kids to, abroad, in the sense, to other countries, to foreign. They send their children for degree. Okay. They complete their matriculation just like 10th or intermediate in those days. So after that, they send their children to foreign to complete law, MS, okay, MBBS, all these things. So even Raman's parents were also very much interested to send him to abroad for higher studies. But on medical grounds, a British surgeon advised them against it, and Raman stayed in the country to do the MA course at Presidency College in Madras, now called Chennai. Okay, so though parents, C.V. Raman's parents, very much interested to send C.V. Raman to abroad for his studies, there was a British surgeon in the sense, do you know? Okay, so in the army, for each group there is one surgeon. Okay, so there is just like doctor. Okay, so if anything happens to any person or any soldier in that particular group, this particular doctor takes care of them. Okay, so he suggested CV Raman parents not to go to any foreign country, and he also advised them to continue CV Raman studies in India. So because of his advice, CV Raman continued to study in India, where in Chennai. And what is the college he studied? Presidency College in Madras, very, very famous. Okay, yeah, we shall move to the next page here. Yeah. So science has already made an impression on him, and he began to write research papers for science journals. Okay, so he was very much interested on science, and he started writing science journals. Okay, which are, see, it is not even possible for the social science, researchers and all to write journals. But in those days, C.V. Raman started to write journals. Okay, directly, very, very, talented. So when he was only 19, he became a member of the Indian Association for Cultivation of Science. Okay. Next. Meanwhile, respecting his parents' wishes, he took up an administrative job in the finance ministry in Calcutta. See, though we are some scientists and all, that is private job. Okay, but what is the scenario for the, or the ideology of the Indian parents? They always want us to do some government job. So respecting his parents wishes and all, CV Raman took a job in finance ministry in Calcutta. So his interest in science, however, did not flag in the sense, did not stop. He had so much interest in science. So because of that, all his job and all, everything, that all thing did not stop CV Raman from focusing on science. So he used to spend his hours after office in the lab of association, working throughout the night. So soon after completing his job in the finance ministry, okay, he used to go to the association, that office lab, and he starts to do his experiments there throughout the night. Okay, so in his youth, Raman was mainly interested in acoustics. What is acoustics? The science of sound. Previously you have got one more word there. What was that? Optics. What is optics? The study of light. And here acoustics. What is acoustics? The study of sound. Okay, so please write these two terms and two meanings in your running notes. So he studied how stringed instruments like the violin and sitar could produce harmonious music. So he also started experiments doing on sitar, guitar, and all, which are mainly made with strings. Okay, so he started thinking, how can these strings make so much beautiful, harmonious music and all. So he was elected to the Royal Society of London in 1924, and the British government made him a Knight of the British Empire in 1929. It was a high honor for any great scientist. Okay, so in those days, these were the very, very prestigious, famous awards scientists used to get. Okay, and he was, very much talented, and because of that, even the London Royal Society also had awarded him. Even the he also got a Knight of the British Empire in 1921 and 29. So he started getting all these awards, prizes, honors, and all. So his advice to the young scientists was to look at the world around them and not to confine themselves. Confine in the sense stick to something, sticking only, or keeping our attention to only something. Okay, not to everything. Okay, them not to confine themselves to their laboratories. Okay, so what is he saying? So young scientists in the sense like kids, okay, small children, school children, college students, okay, even the um, researchers also is asking all of them not only stay in the laboratory, okay, continuously for hours and hours, but to go outside the world. Okay, go outside your laboratory, observe the lab, observe the society, observe the nature. Okay, he says that everything, all that you want, you will get from the nature only. Okay, everything that you want, everything that you're doing, or everything that you want to become, all the motives you will get from the nature itself. You need not to spend your hours and hours in laboratory. Okay, so the essence of science, he said, is independent thinking and hard work, not equipment. Okay, what is saying? The essence and the sense, the importance of science is independent thinking, in the sense your own thinking and your own hard work, and not equipment. Don't depend much on the equipment of the laboratory. Depend, or think more. Okay, depend on your own thinking, depend on your own hard work. Don't depend on your equipment in your laboratories. Next, CV Raman was the first Indian scholar who studied only in India and received the Nobel Prize. Okay, so he was the first Indian scholar who studied wholly, in the sense completely. Okay, completely from like LKG to the post graduation and all. Okay, in those days I don't know whether there were PhDs or not, but he had completed almost all his studies, everything in India, completely in India. Okay, and received the Nobel Prize. Okay, there are many Indians who have received Nobel Prize, but they have completed their partial education, some of their education in the foreign countries and all. But CV Raman was the first Indian who completed all his education in India and got the Nobel Prize. So he was the first Asian and the first non-white to win such a great award in science. So he was also first Asian and also first non-white. First Asian in the sense in the whole Asian continent, he was the first person and first non-white person. Okay, other than the white people, other than the Western people, he was the first non-white people person to win Nobel Prize. Next, he passed away, in the sense he was dead in 1970 on November 21, but his memories are with us. Okay, so February 28th, the day on which he discovered the Raman effect, is celebrated as National Science Day to commemorate in the sense to remember his remarkable achievements in science. So as children, we students, all the students know, and all the as the aspirants of DSC TET, you also must know this general knowledge question. When is National Science Day celebrated? On February 28th. Okay, so that was celebrated to commemorate, to remember all the remarkable achievements CV Raman has given to us. So this was adapted in the sense taken from Scientists of India, published by Children's Book Trust, New Delhi. So you have some glossary here. You can go through this if you have any time, or if you have textbook. But we shall again go through this glossary in a grammar video. No need to worry. Okay. So see you all in the next video. Until then, God bless you. Study well. Take care. And before leaving the video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel.